That's innovation at the edges, and lastly, business agility at every scale. So I described at the beginning, I described agenda shift as an engagement model. And I didn't define it. But an engagement model has 3 jobs to do. So an engagement model is a way to help leaders, practitioners, coaches, change agents engage with the change challenge, so we say. Give it some structure, give them some helpful tools. And and at one level, that's what agenda shift is. At another level, an engagement model, you want staff engaged. That is both a goal in itself, but also it's a necessary thing if you want some great ideas to emerge in this process. And if your goal is something cultural, something transformative from a culture point of view, like Agile should be, where you want people collaborating, where you want people innovating, you need to get that. It's worth getting that stuff right from the beginning. And actually, your change process can model what we want it to look like, when we're being successful. So it's a bit of a pun there, the engagement model. It's a term that Daniel Mesick used in the foreword to the first edition. I didn't use the word in the first edition at all. It's a really helpful word, engagement model. It's how we engage, and engagement is actually a goal. There's a third meaning. I'm sort of stretching the meaning of the word engagement slightly, but you need to think about, well, when the organization is changing, different people, different teams tend to change at different speeds. How do we keep the organization still engaged with itself when that's happening? And starting to pay attention to how organizations work. So that's the second common denominator to all of this. So the first common denominator was engagement. The second common denominator is organization. And in the second edition of the book, we take organization really, really seriously. The last few chapters are devoted very much to organization, leadership, structures, feedback loops, all those kind of things. And it's led to our mission statement. We're in the business of building wholehearted and deliberately adaptive organizations. Wholehearted came from my book, Right to Left, and the Agenda Shift community just got very excited about that word, and we realized we were onto something. And actually, it's mostly about that excitement in a funny way. I don't want to define it too precisely. Different people take away different things from the idea of wholeheartedness. Deliberately adaptive is rather more technical. Business agility at every scale is where it takes us to. We've got a model for scale that works at the team level, it works at the organizational level, it works at the people level, and so on. Just for the technically minded of you, it's agenda shift plugged into the viable system model, which is this scary, complicated picture on the left. But we do it in such a way that actually makes it a ton easier to understand. And so the 10,000-foot view of it looks like this. We can drill down into each of those boxes and use this to help understand how organizations work, how organizations need to work if they're going to work for people, how organizations need to work if they're going to thrive when the world around them is changing. So that's what the deliberately adaptive organization is all about. And from there, we can ask different questions like, well, who's participating? Stop thinking in terms of information flows, now thinking about participation and engagement actually as part of the solution, not just part of the process and how we work out what it is we're trying to do. So that's agenda shift, authentic agreement on meaningful outcomes as the starting point, a game-changing starting point. It completely flips 180 degrees the perspective on change if you're comparing it with traditional solution-driven managed change. So do encourage you, do read the book, the second edition, March 2021 as the second edition, and watch this space. There's a ton happening. The book doesn't mean we're finished. The book is a stake in the ground. That's where we are in 2021, and there is a ton of stuff still happening. We launched the Academy this year, and as well as the interactive workshops that we do online, we've launched self-paced training as well. Leading with Outcomes has been going since May. and the first few students are finishing Leading with Outcomes. Outside in strategy as self-paced training, that's going to be out in the next few weeks. I'm recording that now. Recording is going very well. And by the end of the year, Transforming with Outcomes, that's really focused on that deliberately adaptive organization, business agility at every scale, all that kind of stuff. And as an input to that, a new assessment, the deliberately adaptive organization assessment. And we are just piloting that now. We're the first versions of that went to the Agenda Shift partners just last week. So that's very new. Anyone interested in participating in a pilot of that, then do let me know. So that's me done, I think.